There's a difference between a trend and a tradition. Traditions come from years of experience passed down by riders who actually lived it. Trends, those usually come from someone who watched too many Instagram reels and decided they were an expert. And lately, we got more of the second type than ever before. So today we're diving into the dumbest biker trends that need to die off before they take common sense down with them. Some are harmless but annoying, others are straight up dangerous. Either way, they make the whole riding culture look dumber than it actually is. So let's call them out one by one. Number 1. Shaming riders for chicken strips. Here's a trend that needs to get stuffed in the tailpipe. Mocking riders for having chicken strips on their tires. You've probably heard it before. Oh, you don't lean far enough, bro. As if having clean outer edges on your tires somehow makes you less of a rider. That nonsense comes from people who think every ride is a MotoGP audition. Reality check. Public roads aren't racetracks. Not every rider needs to drag a knee through a corner with their elbow 6 inches from the asphalt. Some of us ride for fun, not to audition for the next crash compilation. What's worse is how this pressure leads newer riders to push harder than they're ready for. You see a guy with perfect tire wear and assume he's a riding god, but for all you know, he's just taking his bike to the track. Or worse, he's riding like an idiot on public streets. The size of your chicken strip doesn't determine your skill level. Your ability to ride safely, stay alert, and control your bike in all situations does. Let's stop making tire edge wear a badge of honor. You want to test your lean angle? Great. Do it at the track, not on a blind mountain curve. Until then, save your ego for your profile picture and stop turning tire rubber into a status symbol. Number 2. Mocking people for riding a 125cc. There's this weird superiority complex some riders get the moment they graduate past 125cc's. Suddenly they think they've joined the elite club of real bikers, and anyone still riding a small displacement machine is beneath them. Newsflash: displacement doesn't determine dedication. 125cc can be a smart, fun, and perfectly capable machine for commuting, learning, or just enjoying the ride without having to mortgage your soul for gas and insurance. What's even funnier is that some of these loudmouths couldn't handle their own bikes properly when they first started. Everyone begins somewhere, and for a lot of people, that place is on a 125. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it shows you're smart enough to build skill before chasing horsepower. Not everyone wants to jump straight onto a leader bike and end up learning throttle control via a hospital bed. Besides, in traffic or city riding, a 125 can keep up just fine. In Europe and Asia, it's the norm. But of course, in biker bro culture, it's too small to be real. The only thing small here is the mindset. If your sense of self-worth depends on belittling someone else's ride, maybe it's time to question why you started riding in the first place. Ride what fits your needs, your budget, and your comfort level. The badge of a real rider isn't engine size. It's how you handle yourself out there. Number 3. Group ride snobbery. There's this idea floating around that you're not a real biker unless you ride in big packs, go to meetups every weekend, and join some club or crew. And if you prefer to ride solo, well, apparently that makes you antisocial or not part of the community. What a load of exhaust fumes. Not every rider is in it for the group hugs and breakfast runs. Some of us just want to hit the road with nothing but the wind and our own thoughts. Group rides can be great, but they're not for everyone. They take coordination, patience, and a tolerance for people who don't always know how to stagger properly. And let's be honest, a lot of group rides end up being more about ego than riding. Guys showing off, revving too hard, taking unnecessary risks to look cool. That doesn't make anyone a better rider. It just makes them a liability. Rejecting solo riders because they don't want to ride in formation with 20 other people is one of the dumbest trends out there. Some of the most skilled, experienced riders prefer to go it alone. It's not about being unfriendly. It's about riding the way that brings you peace. So let's stop trying to gatekeep what a real rider is. Whether you're riding solo, with one buddy, or in a giant rolling thunder parade. If you respect the road and your machine, you're part of the tribe. Number 4. Smoking while riding. If you ever pulled up next to someone on a bike who's puffing on a cigarette while cruising down the road, you've probably had the same thought I have. Seriously, man? There's something about this one that just screams forced coolness, like a teenager in the 1950s movie trying to look rebellious. Except it's not a movie. It's 60 miles an hour on two wheels with open lungs and one hand off the bars. Let's be real, smoking while riding isn't just dumb, it's actively distracting. You gotta light the thing, manage the wind, keep the ash from flying into your visor or someone else's face, and heaven help you if that thing drops in your lap. Now you're not just a health hazard to yourself, you're a fire risk to your crotch. Brilliant. Some folks say it helps them relax. I say if you need a smoke to stay calm on a motorcycle, maybe you're doing something wrong. Riding should be the thing that clears your head, not something that stresses you out so badly you need to light up mid-ride like you're on a break from a dead-end job. If you really want to look cool, try smooth throttle control, proper counter steering, and not needing to smoke to feel like you belong. Trust me, it's a better look than dragging a Marlboro down the freeway with bugs in your teeth. Number 5. Flexing your loud pipes like it's a personality. Ah, yes, the age-old loud pipes save lives crew. Now look, I'm not saying your bike has to sound like a Prius on Xanax. I appreciate a good rumble. But when your exhaust is so loud that it sets off car alarms, rattles windows, and wakes up babies 3 zip codes away, guess what? You're not saving lives. You're just being a jackass. There's this trend where riders take pride in how obnoxious their bikes sound, like they've achieved some higher level of biker enlightenment. If it's too loud, you're too old, they say. No, if it's too loud, you're compensating. And the people you're trying to impress, they're mostly just annoyed or concerned that their fillings are going to fall out. Let's also bust the myth that loud pipes make you more visible. The sound shoots out behind you. So unless cars are backing up into you, it's not doing much to keep you safe. It's kind of like shouting after you already walked past someone. It's too late, and it just makes you look unhinged. You know what really saves lives? Riding predictable, staying out of blind spots, and using your head. If your whole riding identity is wrapped up in how much noise you can make, it might be time to ask yourself what you're trying to drown out. Number 6. Treating gear like it's optional fashion. There's a trend I've seen way too often. Riders treating gear like it's just another outfit to match the vibe, instead of the thing that keeps your skin attached to your body. We're talking t-shirts, sneakers, fingerless gloves, and in some cases, no helmet at all. Because apparently, safety's negotiable if the weather's nice and you're feeling cute. Now, I'm not here to be your dad. If you want to ride dressed like you're headed to a beach bar, that's your choice. But don't pretend it makes you some kind of free spirit or rebel. What it really says is you don't think the asphalt can bite. Spoiler alert, it can. And it doesn't care how cool your tank top looks. And don't even get me started on the "I only wear gear on long rides" logic. As if the pavement is somehow softer when you're 5 minutes from home. Most crashes happen close to home, not out in the twisties. One idiot texting behind you is all it takes to turn that quick ride to the store into a lifetime of skin grafts. Smart riders dress for the slide, not the ride. And yes, you can still look good doing it. Gear has come a long way. But pretending you're invincible because your bike matches your sneakers, that's not badass. That's just begging to become roadkill couture. Number 7. Turning every ride into a social media stunt. Here's a trend that needs to get kicked straight off the internet. Treating every ride like it's a Red Bull commercial. GoPros mounted on every angle, pulling stunts in traffic, standing on your seat like you're auditioning for Cirque du Soleil. All that just to get the perfect clip for the gram. Somewhere along the way, riding stopped being about the ride and started being about the views, likes, and engagement. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with capturing your ride or sharing cool moments. But when the ride itself becomes secondary to the content, you're no longer a biker. You're a wannabe influencer in a helmet. And some of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen have come from guys who wanted to impress strangers on the internet. Burnouts in crosswalks, wheelies through neighborhoods, cutting through traffic like it's a video game. It's not skill, it's selfish. Worse yet, this stuff encourages newer riders to mimic it, They see someone doing 90 miles an hour down a crowded street and think that's what riding's all about. So the cycle repeats. More broken bikes, more broken bones, and all for what? A couple hundred likes and a comment from a dude named @ThrottleJunkie69. Let riding be about riding. You don't need a drone shot to prove you're passionate. Focus on the road, not the algorithm. Number 8. Obsessing over brand loyalty like it's a religion. There's something kind of hilarious about how tribal some bikers get. You ride a Harley? Cool. But that doesn't mean you have to talk trash about every metric cruiser like they're dollar store knockoffs. Same goes for sport bike guys who scoff at cruisers or ADV riders who act like anything without a skid plate's beneath them. It's like high school cliques with engines. Grow up. Look, every bike has a purpose. You ride what fits your style, your budget, and your needs. That's smart. What's not smart is acting like your brand of choice makes you morally superior. Spoiler alert, Honda doesn't care if you hate Yamaha. Kawasaki isn't sending you a medal for dunking on Suzuki. And Harley sure as hell isn't going to pay your hospital bill if you crash while flexing your American pride. This weird tribalism just drives people away from the community. New riders already feel overwhelmed enough. Do they really need to worry about being shunned because the logo isn't embroidered on your jacket? If someone's out there riding safe and enjoying themselves, that's all that should matter. Being proud of your ride is fine, but acting like it's a team sport where everyone else is the enemy? That's the kind of energy that makes motorcycling look petty. And frankly, we got better things to do. Like riding. Number 9. Acting like loud revving is a conversation starter. You ever be at a gas station or a stoplight just minding your own business, then some guy decides to twist his throttle like it owes him money. Brap, brap. As if the louder he revs, the more people are going to turn their heads and say, "Wow, what a cool, mysterious rider." Newsflash, we're not impressed. We're annoyed. Especially when it's happening in a confined space or around people who didn't ask for a free eardrum massage. The whole trend of using revs as a way to get attention needs to die off. You're not summoning respect. You're summoning noise complaints. It's especially cringy when it's done around women, like some sad mating call wrapped in carbon fiber. And don't even get me started on the guys who rev at pedestrians or kids trying to seem edgy. That's not edgy. That's just antisocial behavior with an exhaust note. Sure, we all love the sound of a good engine, but timing and place matter. Rev bombing a restaurant patio doesn't make people admire you. It makes them pray for your muffler to fall off. If you really want to connect with someone, try nodding, talking, or, I don't know, acting like a decent human. Rev it up when you ride and let it breathe on the highway. But if you're using your throttle as a personality crutch, it's time to reevaluate your social skills. Number 10. Gatekeeping mods like there's only one right way. One of the weirdest biker trends out there is this idea that there's a right way to modify your bike, and if you do it differently, you're some kind of poser. You put bar-end mirrors on a cruiser? Bro, that's not the way it's done. You blacked out your sport bike? That's not how they do it at the track. Heaven forbid if you install a luggage rack because apparently function's offensive now. It's like the bike mod community has become a bunch of high school mean girls. There's this bizarre obsession with what's correct or acceptable, instead of just appreciating that bikes are personal. They're machines built for freedom. Customizing them is part of the joy. Whether you're into chopped fenders, LED underglow, high-rise bars, or a big comfy backrest, guess what? It's your ride, not a group project. What's worse is how this gatekeeping kills creativity. New riders start second-guessing themselves. They hold back on mods that would actually make riding more comfortable or fun for them, just because some random guy on a forum said it ruins the aesthetic. Since when did we all become design critics? Here's the deal. If your bike makes you happy and works for your kind of riding, you did it right. That's the only rule that matters. Forget what the purists think. They'll be the ones grumbling at bike nights while you're actually out there riding. Number 11. Treating motorcycle ownership like a competition. This last one might be the most toxic trend of all. Treating motorcycle ownership like some kind of points-based competition. Who's got the most expensive gear, the most exotic bike, the longest road trip, the highest mileage, the most followers on their bike account? Never ends. And somewhere in that endless race, People forget why they started riding in the first place. The whole point of motorcycling is that it's not a competition. It's freedom. It's peace. It's adrenaline. It's therapy. It's whatever you need it to be. Turning it into some kind of status contest sucks the soul right out of it. You shouldn't feel like you have to justify your ride to anyone. You don't need to prove that you really ride by posting every stop at every cafe on social media. You don't have to spend 30 grand to feel like a biker. Some of the best riders out there are invisible. They don't post, they don't brag, they just ride. And that's enough. Meanwhile, you got people who spend more time polishing their bikes and posing in gear than actually logging miles. But hey, as long as the pictures look cool, right? Let's kill this idea that motorcycling is some kind of clout chase. You ride because you love it, not because you need approval from strangers. The only thing that really matters is that you're out there, 2 wheels down, throttle open, and free. Number 12. Pretending you don't care about safety until you crash. One of the dumbest trends that keeps popping up is this weird need to act like you don't care about safety. You hear guys brag about not using traction control, turning off ABS, never wearing gear, or never needing no training course. It's all part of this fake tough guy persona that makes it seem like caring about safety somehow makes you weak. But here's the funny thing. You know when that attitude changes? Right after the crash. Suddenly, the guy who laughed at training videos is studying YouTube tutorials in a cast. The ones who mocked riders for wearing armor is asking for jacket recommendations. And the one who said ABS is for cowards is now wondering if it would have kept him from sliding into a mailbox. There's nothing macho about ignorance. Understanding how to stay alive on 2 wheels doesn't make you soft. It makes you smart. And pretending like you're above it all, that just shows everyone that you don't know what you're talking about. You don't need to post a selfie every time you wear a helmet. But acting like you're invincible doesn't make you a rebel. It just makes you a statistic waiting to happen. Let's normalize actually giving a damn about safety. Not because it's cool, because it keeps us out there, riding another day. And that's really what it's all about. The truth is, most of these trends started with good intentions, or at least harmless ones. But somewhere along the way, they got twisted into ego trips, popularity contests, or flat-out safety risks. And if we're going to keep motorcycling alive and respected, we gotta stop pretending that dumb habits are somehow cool just because they're popular. So whether you ride a 125 or a full-dressed bagger, whether you ride solo or with a pack, whether your tires have chicken strips or your helmet has 10 cameras, ride your own ride. And more importantly, let others ride theirs. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the dumbest biker trend you've seen lately? Drop it in the comments, especially if it made you cringe hard enough to pull over. Let's drag some bad habits into the sunlight and leave them there.